in love like that. And to have the kind of, I feel like we're old people, you know, like I feel like we've been married for like 70 years. We've only been talking about being together for like 5 years now. So, I don't know, it's odd and it's hard to explain, but I think you're losing, not losing, but I think you're abandoning and avoiding the kind of value that God has in you, put in you, made of you, when you go after something like that. That's just my own personal opinion. I hope I don't offend you. I hope I don't offend anybody in the comment section about this. But you asked a question. I told you guys to ask anything you wanted to ask, and I would try to be as valuable, as honest as I possibly could. And again, I don't want to be offensive. I don't mean to. I do it in a way to encourage you in the Lord and to let you know how much I love you and how much I care about you. And I want to give people hope out there, because I know there's a lot of people out there, a lot of men like myself, that feel the same way. That feel like it's not worth chasing after people, or girls for that matter. Or a certain girl in your life that you have a thing for. And be patient. Pray. Have faith. That's all I can tell you. But that's my little ramble for this portion of the video. I don't know how long we've been recording here. It's already 2:05 as of the time I'm recording. It's been a while already. And when Goosebumps TV show airs, will those episodes get updated books? I don't know. You know, I wanted to make a video about that as well, about whether they should do a new reissue set for like the old books getting, you know, reissues, or should they do episodes like the TV books they do from the old classic series, like they would take like My Hairiest Adventure and Not a Living Dummy 2 and all that stuff, make them into a short novelization of the TV episode that has all the differences from the book and everything. Should they do that? I'd buy it. I'd buy every bit of it if it did well. The problem that I have is that the Goosebumps film and Goosebumps, you know, Haunted Halloween from 2018, neither one really had any merchandise at all. Almost at all. And people weren't craving for it, except for the fans. They didn't really make anything for any of us, honestly. And I know a lot of people who are not big Goosebumps fans that enjoy the first movie a lot, that have not read the books or anything, or really didn't read many of the books for that matter after they grew up. So a lot of them really enjoy that first movie, not so much the second one, not really anything outside of it, that would not have bought the merchandise. So I don't know if it'd be a good idea, honestly, to release any extra books aside from the fans who would buy this. But it is scholastic. They're going to take it and put it at like book fairs and stuff like that. Kids are not going to buy it. It's going to look like it's not making any money. I don't want it to do that. You know, it's a shame. I would love to see more reissues with the original covers, especially. I would love to see that. Or even better, take newer books like the Slappy World series and get Tim Jacobs to do new art covers for that. You know how cool that would look? You know how sick that would be amazing, you know? Especially with like It's Alive, It's Alive. One of my favorite books from Slappy World, one of my favorite books from Goosebumps of all time. To see It's Alive, It's Alive have a Tim Jacobs art book cover thing would be amazing. I would love that. It'd be so great. But anyway, Devil Luke, thank you so much for your comments. I appreciate it. I appreciate the questions, and I hope that I encouraged you or helped you in some possible way to get through this hump in your life. But anyway, God bless you, dude. EB, the original master. Congratulations on 500 subscribers, dude. Here are a few questions I would like to ask. Thank you so much for the congratulations, man. Number one, what is your favorite Goosebumps book series? Again, I pretty much already answered that. Kind of a dual tie type thing. Number two, what idea for a Goosebumps book you have in mind? I don't know, man. I would love to see a book. And I was going to do this a while back as like a fan-made thing, but I kind of gave up on that after my first laptop kind of crashed. I was going to do a thing here on YouTube called Goosebumps Vanished. You might remember that for some of the older subscribers. A couple of videos here on YouTube that say Goosebumps Vanished on them. It was going to be me kind of doing my own Twilight Zone with the Goosebumps stuff. But it was going to be like once a year, maybe around Halloween time, I would do one story of my own. The one that I had in my head that I thought could be really cool after I read the Monster Blood series and was a big fan of Haunted Mask stuff was that what if you happen to have the Haunted Mask buried out in like the woods somewhere, kind of like at the end of the first book, sort of kind of, but not really, because of the real end of the first book, like the last page or so. I thought, what if we had the mask buried out in the woods somewhere? You had maybe Evan or something fighting Monster Blood, throwing it out in the river, and it kind of expires, but it also turns out that it's nearby the Haunted Mask. Maybe some of the Monster Blood gets away from this river current area out in the woods, crawls over to the Haunted Mask, and the Haunted Mask possesses it, but also the Monster Blood now grows into a body, like has arms and legs, no like guts or anything like that, but just arms and legs, and walks around with the Haunted Mask as its head. That was my idea for the first ever Goosebumps Vanish story. It's never going to get made, so I thought I would just kind of throw that out and tell you guys now about it. But that was my big idea, what I had for my first ever Goosebumps Vanished story. I thought it would be really cool, but I also didn't know if I wanted to do Evan, the main character from the first book, or the first few books, for that matter, in it. I didn't really know where I wanted to go with that, so it's kind of like an idea. I'm an ideas man. I'm not really a full-fledged, like, let's get this done type thing. It's why I like Alvin Schwartz, and my writing style being kind of like his for my books that I'm working on. Because I like short stories. I like being able to tell things in a couple of pages and having it over with. I don't have to repeat and go into all this he said, she said nonsense. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't appeal to me or the reader for that matter. Yeah, that was my idea. I don't know what you guys think about that Haunted Mask, Monster Blood team-up type thing. The first team-up we've ever had in Goosebumps for monsters, aside from some Give Yourself Goosebumps random stuff here and there, is the Dummy Meets the Mummy from the Slappy World series, the newer series going on, which is odd to have that just now happen of a team crossover type thing. But still, that would be my idea. I don't know what you guys think about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that down below. Anyway, the third question that E.B., the original master, asked was, if you asked R.L. Stine to improve on Goosebumps, what advice would you give him? You know, I don't think I have anything I could tell him that. I noticed that the more I read of Goosebumps, some of the stories are kind of similar. They have kind of a formula to them. I mean, most of Goosebumps has a formula to it, how it's told. Like, for example, every chapter has to end with a cliffhanger. That's great. That's entertaining. I love it. There's not really anything I'd criticize and say is bad. There's just some stories I don't like as much as others. Does that make sense? Like, there's certain things like the first of the special editions of Give Yourself Goosebumps, the one with the skeleton dinosaur T-Rex thing on the cover. I think Doom is in the title. That book had so many great ideas in it, and it was such a giant mess. And I get why it was a mess, because it was trying to be special for a first special edition of that series. And it was such a sloppy crap fest. And I trashed that. I made like an 18-minute long video just horrifically tearing into that book. And the more I've read, the more books that I dislike less than that, you know? Or dislike more than that book. So it kind of went up in ranks a little bit for me. It's not the worst in my opinion anymore. Neither is Nightmare on Clown Street, by the way. I know somebody else asked about that. I'll get to it later, but yeah. That T-Rex book I'm talking about is a great example of a book that it's not that it's a bad book, it has a lot of problems, a lot of severe issues, and just, you know, stuff that was an amateur mistake, which also leans credit to possibly R.L. Stine not writing the book from the get-go. I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe it is. You know, it doesn't really matter to me. The book was, you know, it is what it is. I don't really care who writes the Goosebumps as long as it's good. Still. So I don't really think I could be the guy that could be arrogant enough to say that I want to have advice that I want to give R.L. Stine. R.L. Stine, say what you will about the man, but he works like a freaking dog, like a mule. You know, he works so hard and gets so much out. Even if he's getting 3 books out a year now for Slappy World alone, that's a lot of books, man. And even if they're short, that's a lot of books, in my opinion. That's a lot of work being done. So, especially at his age, for that matter, I would not give him any advice, in my opinion. I think I should listen to him for once and get some advice from him, because he has done a whole lot more than I've done when it comes to writing career, when it comes to his work ethic is impeccable. He's one of those people like Dean Koontz that just sits down and writes all day long. I don't know how they do it. I like to write. I don't like to write that much. Maybe you have to be that way to be a writer, but I know a lot of writers that are not like that. You know, Stephen King's not like that. He writes every day, but he doesn't write like that. He doesn't write quality like that, for that matter, either. He doesn't listen to his editors, either, like how R.L. Stine does, which is the best part of R.L. Stine and why I love Stine's work so much. But anyway, yeah, E.B., thank you for asking your questions. I appreciate you, man. God bless you. Yeah, here's another question from Spongy. There's the Calling All Creeps and Goosebuds podcasts, which can be found here on YouTube as well as the usual podcasting places. That was not a question. Let's see. So I guess he was just telling me about reviewers in general. Looking at the comments, because he and Lou went back and forth again, which is always fun. Calling All Creeps and Goosebuds podcasts. Yeah, I think I've listened to Goosebuds a little bit. Is that the one where they drink? I think that's the one where they drink. Even though I'm against drinking, I do think that one is funny. The guys that drink and do the video. I think it's Goosebuds. I could be wrong, but I think it is. I don't know about Calling All Creeps. I don't think I've ever heard of that podcast. I don't know. There's the one that people drink and it's really funny. I actually think that they do some really good kind of Red Letter Media style reviews on Goosebumps. Whoever that group is. I don't know if it's Goosebuds or not, but whoever it was, love their work. I think they're fantastic. But I think I liked Goosebuds. If it's the people I'm thinking about too on another end, not the people who are drinking the whole time, but the other guys, they're really funny too. It's just I'm not a podcast guy. Once again, I'm just not. But anyway. Thank you, Spongy, for your question and helping recommending more than questioning. I appreciate you, man. God bless you. Tristan Benny, this is a good start for you, man. Good job, and I'm happy with your work, so just keep on trying. Thank you so much, man. God bless you. I appreciate you supporting the channel and everything. Grayson, my buddy Grayson, the Goosebumps kid, 1992. Questions. Could you do a ranking of the Night of the Living Dummy books? I was going to do that, but I haven't read all of them, man. I've been kind of trying to work my way towards all that, not rush into it, because there's still Slappy books coming out. There's still, like, what, 2 more? There's, like, there was Diary of a Dummy that already came out. There was... What else was there? I know there's My Friend Slappy coming out at some point. Yeah, that's like what, December of this year? September? Somewhere in there? Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. There's another one coming out this year I'm excited for as well, called My Friend Slappy. It looks amazing. A really cool idea about Slappy befriending a kid. And the kid is enjoying Slappy being evil. And I love that idea. That's a genius idea. Why has that never been done before? That's fantastic as an idea. R.L. Stein, still, as old as he is, great ideas. Whether he's writing them or not, it doesn't matter. It sounds like his kind of idea for his kind of story, and I can't wait. But yeah, at some point, whenever I get done with all the Slappy books ever, not just including with that one coming out, but later on in the future, if they stop Goosebumps again, it probably won't come back after the Slappy World series, but if it does, I'll include those at some point. But yeah, I'm going to be working my way through all the Slappy books. I pretty much read most of them, if not almost all of them. So I'm pretty caught up aside from the Slappy World series, the newest ones, like Diary of a Dummy, Dummy Meets the Mummy, which will be possibly reviewed here soon, God willing. But, because it'll be part of the Mummy marathon. But I need to take a taste of water, man. I'm so dry mouth right now. I feel like I'm stuttering a whole lot more, too, from it. When you guys drink these kind of bottles, do you squeeze them or do you suck on them? Because I squeeze them. You know, that's the only way I can do it. Because I feel like if I tried to suck the water out of the bottle, I'd choke to death, probably, somehow. Anyway, next question from Grayson. What book were you stoked for and was disappointed after reading it? Nightmare on Clown Street. I was really excited for that. From the Nightmare on Elm Street reference, from the title, to a clown book, which is not super common in Goosebumps, not super, super common. I was really stoked for that. And I was also stoked, extremely stoked, for Night of the Puppet People, which those 2 books, Nightmare on Clown Street and Night of the Puppet People, or Nightmare on Clown Street, not Night of the... whatever the title was, for both of those. Doesn't matter. I was excited for both of them. And the endings of both are so bad. I mean, horrifically bad. Mainly Nightmare on Clown Street. At least Puppet People had some like body horror stuff. It was really effective and it was fun to read and I had a good time. I was getting into that. It was I bought those I think right after I started reading Goosebumps again when I had my back injury. I read Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask and I think I read The Haunter. Then I picked up those 2 I think. Or maybe I read those 2 before The Haunter, but they were not satisfying. They were not satisfying at all because the endings are so horrific. Nightmare on Clown Street's ending is completely rushed, and then Puppet People had just the most weird, bizarre sci-fi turn I've ever seen in a story, especially with R.L. Stein's Goosebumps series. And it was a sloppy, sloppy mess in my opinion. I did not like how that book went in its finale. But even so, there are a lot of books I've read since then that are much worse than those 2. Like the first Monster Blood book. I do not like that book. I think it's really, really bad. Really rough, even. It doesn't feel like Goosebumps, almost at all, in that story. The rest of the Monster Blood books do. Just that first one, I don't like it that much. Even the TV episode's better, I think, from off the top of my memory. But still. Next question from Grayson is, can you try to read one of these books soon? Phantom of the Auditorium, which he asked me to read a lot of these books all the time for anybody who's not paying attention to Grayson in the comments section. A Night in Terror Tower, Say Cheese and Die, and The Girl Who Cried Monster. I want to get around to those at some point, man. It probably won't be this summer. I don't know for sure yet. Again, my whole schedule is a little hectic with the wedding, replanning, and all that hectic nonsense with the coronavirus and whatever. I have the Mummy Marathon, excuse me, coming up. I want to get into the other Slappy World books. There's things like The Invisible Boy, Revenge of the Invisible Boy. I can't remember what the title is. Something like that. There's that, too, that I want to read. So I have to read the first one of that book, and then read that Slappy World book on that, about the Invisible Kid. And so I have a lot of stuff I want to catch up on first and really get to first before I talk about like Night at Terror Tower, because there's 2 Night at Terror Tower books. There's the original, and then there's Give Yourself Goosebumps, the special edition. I can't talk tonight. I'm so sorry. But there's those 2. I want to read those back to back and do a video on those. Well, not as a ranking video, but I'd also like to see a new Night at Terror Tower book, by the way. That'd be kind of cool. Why don't we do that? I don't know. What's that Give Yourself Goosebumps book going to be like? I'm really interested in that. Don't spoil anything for me, guys. But still, I'm excited for that. But I'm also really excited for the Say Cheese and Die books. I'm also planning on doing all 3 of those this summer as well because they're part of the Horrorland series. I think 2 books after the Mummy book in the Horrorland book series. I think there's a Say Cheese and Die 3. Say Cheese and Die Screaming? Yeah, that's what it is. So I'll probably get around to that as well after the Mummy series. But I can't tell you really, like, I can't really pinpoint when that's going to be that I'm going to read that. But I plan on reading that pretty soon, as a matter of fact. Phantom of the Auditorium is the kind of story that's been overdone so many times of this Phantom of the Opera ripoff type thing. I've heard a lot of people tell me they liked it, and I was kind of surprised by that, by how many people I've seen supporting that in the comments section. That and Chicken Chicken. Lou is one of those people that loves Chicken Chicken for some reason. And I haven't read that yet either, so I don't know if it's any good or not. If it is, I'll be surprised if I liked it, but you'll get your props. You'll get your props. Grayson, I'll totally try to shout you out if I remember to in that comment, or in that video, if I ever get around to reviewing any of these anytime soon, especially Phantom of the Auditorium. I know you've been recommending these for a long time, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten around to them anytime soon. My schedule's been kind of bogged down with just me being tired all the time, man. I used to go to bed at like 6 o'clock in the morning when I'd get off work, right? I'd get home after I hung out with my fiance for about an hour at her apartment. I'd go to my house, and I'd fix dinner and stuff, and I'd sit and watch TV and movies, and I'd read a lot of Goosebumps stuff, and I'm in bed at like 3 o'clock now, so like 3 hours after I leave work, and I get exhausted, man. I feel completely bogged down because of stuff like work. Just because of the second shift thing. It wasn't so bad because it used to be a half an hour earlier that we'd go in and leave a half an hour earlier than we do now, like 11:30 we'd leave. And now we're leaving at midnight. They moved us back because of our weird hours situation going on right now. And I've been exhausted from this new thing. You wouldn't think 30 minutes would affect people that bad, but it does. I don't know. It does for me because it's so late. But I feel like I don't get any rest, so I sleep all the time. That's why you don't see a whole lot of Goosebumps book reviews from me anymore, so fast at least. I used to review one like every couple of days on the channel last year during the summer, and it's just not working out this year, man. I'm trying, but it ain't happening. So I'm just exhausted all the time, it seems. I'm also trying to make more time, too, to read my Bible a little bit more. I've been slacking off for like 6 months now and haven't read it like at all. And I just felt horrifically convicted about this. I felt like I needed to get back in shape, not just because I'm out of shape, but spiritually out of shape. I needed to get back into reading that, too. So I try to read my Bible more on my breaks at work instead of taking Goosebumps books with me, so they also don't get damaged. I can read them at home when I get home, but I'm always tired, so it's a little rushy. Otherwise, I would have tried to have gotten to these sooner, Grayson. So I want to, again, after all that rambling, I'm sorry. I want to thank you for your support for the channel. I want to thank you for all the stuff you comment all the time. You're very supportive, very encouraging young guy, and I know you're a Christian as well, so God bless you, brother, and thank you for your comments and your questions. Let's see, how much more do we have left? Oh, there's not a whole lot left. There's enough to make me ramble more, but there's not a whole lot left. AFX Apocalypse asked the next 2 comments. What was the downfall of Goosebumps? Oh, okay, so there's no periods, there's no punctuation, so I have to kind of divide this up myself. What was the downfall of Goosebumps? Harry Potter. It's so obvious that it was Harry Potter, and it's so sad that the Goosebumps has not survived longer and really come back in popularity after the 2 films, especially the first film. It's a shame it hasn't really spiked back up in popularity. I love it. I think it's so good. But Harry Potter, that's the one to blame. As much as I love Harry Potter's movies, I haven't really read many of the books. I think I've read the first 2 books. And I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the movies, but a big chunk of them I love to death. The first one, I love to death. I love the 4th one with Goblet of Fire. It had Robert Pattinson in it. Let's see. The last 2, of course, Deathly Hallows were amazing in my opinion. I loved both of those. Goblet of Fire, or not Goblet of Fire, Half-Blood Prince was amazing. That was the first one I came back to many, many, many years after not watching Harry Potter for a while. After the 4th film scared me so bad as a kid in theaters. And when I came back to Half-Blood Prince, fell in love with it all over again. Loved the movies. Had the whole box set and everything. But Harry Potter killed Goosebumps, and I still blame it to this day. If we were playing Clue, you'd find this thing with the knife in its hand. It is totally the death of Goosebumps, and it's a shame, because Goosebumps doesn't get any respect, but Harry Potter still gets a ton of respect all the time. It's a shame. Such a shame. And I personally think Goosebumps is better than Harry Potter. I know that a lot of people consider Harry Potter better because it kind of starts as a kid's book series. It turns much, much, much darker and deadly as it goes on. And that's cool. That's fine. It's not scary stories, though. It kind of becomes that later on, from what I understand. The films are definitely scary after, like, film 3 and onward. Kind of film 2, kind of film 1, even. They're kind of a kid's horror series, a little bit. But I love Goosebumps more than I love Harry Potter. That will always be the case. It will never change. But I do have my nostalgia for Harry Potter. You didn't ask any of that, but I thought I'd tell you all that. Because I'm a rambler, like I said. What's the best monster and worst monster? Best monster. That's hard to decide, man. I love Slappy. He's my personal favorite monster. I also love the Haunted Mask. I would say that might be the best monster. You know, I think that Slappy is my favorite villain. When it comes to inanimate object coming to life, it's probably Haunted Mask. It's probably the best villain in my opinion. Worst villain is probably going to be... Man, that's kind of a hard one. I don't know. There's certain ones that are kind of what I would consider. If it was any other thing that was not Goosebumps, I would say it's probably Monster Blood. You know, if it was not a Goosebumps thing. But the way those stories are told, they're very silly, very goofy, very cartoonish in a lot of ways. It works so well for Goosebumps, the way the stories are told, the way Stein tells them. So I can't really say that. You know, I would feel insulted if I said that. Maybe the worst monster is probably... Man, it's hard to decide. Hold on, let me look at my list real quick that I was making on my notepad for like the different books and whatnot. Let me go to the very, very, very bottom. You know what? I do have one right here. Number, it's very low in my list. Bim from Weirdo Halloween. I can't stand that freaking thing. I know a lot of people love it. I know Lou's default photo on YouTube is Bim, his own version of Bim. I hate Bim. I cannot stand that thing. It drives me nuts. That book drove me nuts, and that freaking monster drove me nuts. I kind of liked him at first, and then just the whole book grossed me out because of this thing. But that's probably my worst monster, in my opinion. I hate that thing. I hate Bim. I'm sorry if you're a fan of Bim, but I hate Bim. Are the newer non-holographic prints of Give Yourself Goosebumps worth the $10 to $20 range, and the few that are $50 to $100 range even worth it? Nothing is ever worth that much money, in my opinion. Now, there is one book that I spent $100 on for Goosebumps. That was the Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns TV book, because it was impossible. You could not find it anywhere. However, the other books, special editions and stuff, I wouldn't recommend spending that much on it. I don't think it's worth it. I think that you should just go for a $20 range. They pop up on eBay all the time. If you could find them on eBay, and I found mine in a bundle, as a matter of fact, the special editions. Not all of them, but a big chunk of them. I'd recommend going that way. There's a particular eBayer that I use all the time to find stuff. He or she's name, I think it's a girl, is named Marla Linda. If you go on Marla Linda's eBay page, I'm telling you, you're going to find some great stuff, man, when it comes to Goosebumps. Really good stuff. A lot of hardcovers, a lot of box sets, a lot of rare stuff that I haven't seen. Some of the stuff is pricier and justifiably so, but these people have some good stuff, man. Really good stuff. I bought a lot of stuff from them. A lot of stuff I've shown on this channel are things that came from them on eBay. So I'm going to give you guys my one source on eBay that I go for a lot of Goosebumps stuff. That is Marla Linda. Great, great people. Ship out the stuff very fast. At least here in the US they do. I get my stuff almost immediately when I order from them. Fantastic people. Love them to death. But yeah, that's what I would say. Go for them. Keep your eyes on them looking for rare stuff. Question. This is also from AFX Apocalypse. What was the first book you have ever got? Let's see. It may or may not be either Curse of Camp Cold Lake or the birthday party I always talk about, where I had like a bunch of Goosebumps books that were given to me from the reissue era, like Night of the Living Dummy, 1, 2, and 3. I've shown a lot of them. Bad Hair Day, stuff like that. May or may not have been my first box of Goosebumps books that I was given after the TV show had caught my interest so much from Night of the Living Dummy 3's TV tape, VHS tape, whatever. The thing is, again, my grandmother on my dad's side also gave me Curse of Camp Cold Lake and Legend of the Lost Legend. Those are the only first two I ever had that had numbers on the side, on the spine of the book. So I'm convinced those are the first two I ever got. But I could be wrong. I'm not sure if that's the case. It might be. It's been a long time. Long, long time. I've been alive almost 26 years. Excuse me. At the end of this year, it'll be 26 years. I'll be 26 years old. So it's been a long time. I was probably 6 or 5 when I got those books for the first time ever. So I can't really tell you, but it was somewhere in that ballpark. Either Not a Living Dummy 1, 2, and 3, and some other random reissue books, or Curse of Camp Cold Lake and Legend of the Lost Legend. I'm getting dry mouth, starting to stutter, need some water. That's really good. That's really, really good. What are your top 10 Goosebumps books? Do you have any pets? I do not have any pets. What are your top 10 Goosebumps books? Let's see. I don't really have a list right now. Of course, Ghost Camp I'll throw out some random ones. I don't know if it's my official top 10, but it's like my big ones that I always love to death. Of course, Ghost Camp, Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask. Frankenstein's Dog is a big one. It's Alive is another big one, even though it's kind of like Frankenstein's Dog in a lot of ways. The Comic Book Shop of Horrors, the Give Yourself Goosebumps book, is a fantastic book. I love that one to death. Night in Pain House, or One Night in Pain House, which is another special edition Give Yourself Goosebumps book, is amazing. If you want a really good Goosebumps book in general that's genuinely... See, I'm stuttering. I can't talk now. Something like that book. That book is so scary. It's a fantastic Halloween book. I forgot to mention in my review for that book that it was a Halloween book, because it's mentioned in like one sentence, and I forgot all about it. But just absolutely fantastic book. I love it to death. Let's see, that's what, 4 that I just named off the top of my head. You Can't Scare Me is another really great one that I love to death. Not a Living Dummy 3 is amazing. The live show storybook thing that you can get, the R.L. Stein adaptation of the TV of the live show for Goosebumps. I can't talk at all. What is wrong with me? It's been so long I've been recording, probably. It's probably been over an hour now. The live show, Screams in the Night. I love that book adaptation, novelization of that play. I think it's fantastic. It's one of my favorite Slappy books, as a matter of fact, even though Slappy's not in the forefront of that book most of the time. Really good story. Haunted Mask 1, 2, they're both really great, mainly 2. 2 was really, really, really fantastic, and I consider it personally superior to the first book. Let's see. I don't know. That's probably relatively in the ballpark of top 10 off the top of my head, very easily. Really good stuff. When I love a Goosebumps book, it gets a really good rating for me and a good appraisal review. Something like that. I'm so tired. I need food, man. I wanted spaghetti tonight. I'm planning on making that after this video, so it's going to be some good stuff. Anyway, do you have any pets? No, I do not. Actually, I kind of do, now that I think about it. My mother has an obsession with turtles, and she has 2 little red-eared turtles, whatever they are. Red-eared sliders? I don't know what they're called. They're not cheeseburgers. Red-eared sliders, turtle thing, and they're becoming enormous, and we're getting tired of buying new tanks for them all the time. It's becoming tiresome. But they're very cute. I don't have any pictures to show you right now, but one of them is named Franklin, one is named Onyx, and they are adorable. They're very sweet. I do not pick up turtles. I don't touch fish and, you know, those things, reptiles. I don't touch them. I don't like stuff like that. I have a lot of fears in my life, and that's part of it. I've also been afraid that the way they've gotten so big now, that they're probably at that state now where if they bit your finger, they could probably take the tip of your finger off. So I don't want to take the risk of that, so I will not be touching them anytime soon. But technically I do have pets, but they're really my mom's pets in her room. She takes care of them. I don't. It's her pets. But overall, house pets, we don't have any dogs or cats or anything. I'm more of a cat guy than a dog guy, but I do love dogs as well. Dogs are more lovable than cats. Cats are just cuter, in my opinion. They don't stink, you know, so I don't know, but I love dogs. I love both. My fiance loves dogs more than cats, so we have debates over this all the time. But if I had a pet, probably be a cat. Probably so. I'm a crazy cat man guy. I don't know. Anyway, next person, by the way, AFX Apocalypse, thank you so much for your comments or your questions. I really appreciate all the questions you asked, man. Good stuff. God bless you. Tanya Fox, love you, Michael. Somebody told me they love me. God bless you. I love you, Tanya. Bruh do. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Wow, that is amazing. You are an awesome YouTuber, and I wanted to say congratulations. I'm not sure if it's a legitimate channel or a bot channel. I don't know. If it's a bot, I don't have anything to say to you. If it is not a bot, bruh do, thank you so much. God bless you, and thank you for being here to celebrate with us. And you said you are an awesome YouTuber. I don't think I'm an awesome YouTuber. I'm really not. I'm just kind of the most bland, boring guy you could possibly meet. Has a lot of time on his hands a lot of the time. So, yeah, there is all that. Maybe it comes to a good, chaotic mess sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes watchable, sometimes not. Like now. Anyway, thank you. God bless you, dude. In Closet Goosebumps fan, one of my favorite commenters that sometimes I understand what he's saying, and sometimes I don't. So, he's a fun guy. I like him. I like his channel, too. He's a cool one. If you wanted somebody to subscribe to, does a lot of Goosebumps theories and Goosebumps type of videos comparing different, like canon, for example, like what follows what book and whatnot, like the Slappy book canons and whatnot. If you want that kind of thing, In Closet Goosebumps fan is a really cool guy to listen to. He has a lot of lot of ideas for what he wants to do with his channel, so that's kind of interesting too. He asked, "Nice, which I could grow to. Bjorn is most likely is gone." Yeah, I don't know. I hope that's not the case. He didn't ask a question. I'm just going to comment on what he said in his comment. I think that your channel will grow. It's just, it takes time, man. It really does. It really, really does. And I don't know why my channel blew up over the quarantine time period. I guess people got nostalgic while also sitting around in their house for a month and a half. So that was cool. That worked out well. God worked on that way. For me. Not for them, but for me. But just be patient, man. I'll be praying for your channel. I hope it takes off for you, man. I know you're a Christian as well, apparently. So God bless you. But just be strong. Just keep working. The other thing he said is Bjorn is most likely gone. Of course, Bjorn is, like I said earlier, Goosebumps Aussie fan / 90s Portal. I really hope he's not. I haven't seen him active at all on YouTube, from what I can tell. I know a lot of people keep up with like his Snapchat and Instagram and all that. I don't use that garbage. But I don't know if he uses that still. I don't know if he does any updates on that stuff, which is kind of sad. I love Bjorn's content. I just today was rewatching videos from his channel. I love his work. He's so fun, and he's such an enjoyable guy to watch. There's so many questions I have of different things that he could talk about, like the newer Slappy World books and stuff. I just don't know what happened with him. I really hope everything's okay. I really have been praying for him. I hope nothing bad happened in his life, like his family died or anything like that. That would be horrible, because the guy's awesome. I love him to death. Again, I've been watching his videos for like 2 years now. I might have found his channel around the time I saw, or I first read Wanted the Haunted Mask when I had my back injury, about 2018 or so. I might have started watching his videos around that time and really got sucked into them at that point. He and Zach Baby TV. So both of those guys mean a lot to me in that weird nostalgic way too, for that fact. But I really hope both of them make more videos about Goosebumps. I know Zach Baby TV does kind of one every once in a while. He does more of like creepypasta narrations and story narrations, which is cool. He does good at that. But Goosebumps Aussie, Bjorn, 90s Portal, listen to me. Come back, man. We love you. We miss you. All of us want to talk to you again. We want to comment on your videos. If you go to his current video, the last one he put up, I think it was a Toy Story 4 review, or I don't know what it was. It was something like that. There's so many comments from people like myself on my secondary channel and on this main channel, constantly commenting to him saying, hey, where are you? We miss you. We want more content and stuff like that. I don't care if he does just do 90s stuff. The dude is fantastic. I love watching anything he has to say. I'd love to see anything he had to talk about with the 90s or otherwise. I don't care. So I wish he'd come back. I love his content. If Bjorn happens to be watching this for whatever reason, God bless you, dude. I really hope everything's okay. Anyway, in Closet Goosebumps fan, thank you for your comment / question, topical subject to discuss. I don't know what to call it. Thank you for being here. God bless you, dude. And I hope your channel takes off, by the way. Here's one of my other commenters that comments a lot, too. I like him a lot. His name is Maiku. He's a young man. Very young man. He does a lot of Goosebumps stuff, does a lot of SpongeBob stuff. I've subscribed to his channel. He asked me to. I see a lot of his stuff that he posts about, like SpongeBob versus videos and stuff like that. I don't have a whole lot of time to tune into that kind of stuff. But his Goosebumps videos are fine. He's a good reviewer. Very young. Very, very young. It's kind of surprising me how many people are getting into book reviewing as a young person. Like, really young. Like middle school age. You know, you don't see that a whole lot. So that's kind of cool. Props to Maiku. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, so forgive me for that if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Questions. What Goosebumps Slappy World book are you hyped to read? Well, It's Alive, It's Alive used to be my super excited one to read. And Ghost of Slappy as well. And both of those I loved. For the most part, I loved Ghost of Slappy. It had its problems. The ending is a really stupid ending. But Ghost of Slappy I thought was fantastic. I really, really dug that book. It's Alive is easily probably my favorite out of the whole Slappy World series at this current point. Upcoming books, easily My Friend Slappy. I cannot wait to read that when it comes out. I'm so stoked for that. I'm also excited for Diary of a Dummy. I haven't read that yet. I am hoping it'll be really good. It sounds like my kind of thing. I feel like, and hopefully nobody will confirm this so I'm not spoiled on this, I have heard that there's a new dummy in Diary of a Dummy. I don't know if it's true. I think I know the name, but please don't confirm it because I don't want to know. I don't want to know until I read it at some point. God willing, it'll be good. Because I'm hoping it'll be good. I love Slappy books and dummy books. I don't care how many dummies you bring into the series. I just want dummies. I love dummies. I've always had an interest in ventriloquist dummies. Always had an interest in Slappy. So, I don't know. Ones that are already released, the one I'm excited to read is Diary of a Dummy. When it comes to ones that have not been released yet, it's My Friend Slappy. Easily. No hands down contest at all. The Monster Blood book could end up being really good. It sounds good, but I don't think it's going to come close to how I feel about My Friend Slappy. Possibly. Possibly. Next question. Is Nightmare on Clown Street really that bad? It was Maiku that asked that. I forgot to tell you guys that. In my opinion, I think that, again, the book has gotten higher on my list compared to a lot of books I've read since then that I think are much worse than that book, like the original Monster Blood. But the ending is still extremely rushed. I love the idea of having a Goosebumps book set in the carnival. We don't really have a whole lot of Goosebumps books that are set like that. You have like a couple of Give Yourself Goosebumps books, maybe some little things here and there, but not really many that are focused on a carnival type thing. And having a main character become a carny and be a clown is really cool from Nightmare on Clown Street. So I like that stuff about it, but it's just the fact that, I don't know, the ending is horrible. I hate everything about the ending. I think it's just a rushed, sloppy mess. It should have been a special edition where it was longer, like 170 pages, instead of 120, and trying to jam so much stuff into the finale of the book. Maybe there wasn't enough content there to make a 170-page long book, but I think the way Stein is so creative, he could have done it. But that's my personal opinion. I think there's some really cool stuff in Clown Street. I recommend it in that respect, if you want some cool kind of carnival-type story. Maybe a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people in general like that book more than I do. So, when it comes to newer Goosebumps from the last, like, 10 years, there's a lot of people who love that book. A lot of people who have given me negative comments and reviews and thumbs downs and stuff on that video, which is fine. It's their opinion. I don't care. But I'm just saying, it's a shame that a lot of people think that's good Goosebumps and haven't really been exposed to, like, Give Yourself Goosebumps and Series 2000 books that are just impeccably great. Not that I hate Monster or Most Wanted or hate Slappy World or anything like that. I like a lot of the new Goosebumps books. I love a lot of them, as a matter of fact. It's Alive, It's Alive. It's a great testament to how great some of the new ones can be. Frankenstein's Dog is also fantastic. I love that book. But still, yeah. Nightmare on Clown Street, it's a little bit of a hit or miss with a lot of people, I think. A lot more than people are willing to admit. But still, it's a kid's book, so what do you do? What's your least favorite Goosebumps monster or villain? I think I already did that. Yeah, we already did that a little bit ago. Do you prefer Marvel over Goosebumps? No, not at all. I'm a comic book fan. I almost said a kook, because I call my fiance a kook all the time. I am a Marvel fan to an extent. I love certain superheroes / anti-heroes like Wolverine, and one of my favorites is Agent Venom, where Venom was on Flash Thompson. I love that one. Spider-Man in the olden days, not the newer Spider-Man stuff. I hate the newer Spider-Man stuff. It's just stupid. But the old stuff Stan Lee used to do, and some people after that, they were good. There's some little X-Men things I like here and there. I love Venom just in general. I don't care which Venom it is, but I prefer Agent Venom. I love, you know, the old one, Eddie Brock. I'm definitely more of a Goosebumps fan than I am a Marvel fan. Marvel, to me, they're only popular now because of the MCU. I think the MCU is what saved Marvel Comics as a brand. Even though people aren't going and reading the comics because of the new movies, like we thought they would, they're not, and it's not making any money. SJWs have killed Marvel Comics, and they're killing DC now, too. IDW is almost dead because of it. You know, I don't know how Marvel's going to survive much longer, even though they're owned by Disney, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do well for a long, long time. But Marvel has, like, no respect for me anymore. I like the MCU. I like it. I love certain movies in it, but I like the MCU overall. But Goosebumps, I find so much more enjoyment because I'm a horror fan. I'm a horror fan before I am a superhero comic book fan, you know? As much as I love that stuff. But still, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, Goosebumps over Marvel. Maiku, thank you for your comments. I don't think you had anything else in here that you commented, but if you did, I'll get to you in a moment. But thank you. Appreciate your comments all the time. God bless you. Razviel. I've never been able to say this guy's name. He seems like a really cool guy, but I've never been able to pronounce his name. It's like R-A-Z-V-I-E-L. Ramos. How would you do the Holly Jolly Holiday Goosebumps episode adaptation? What's Holly Jolly Holiday Goosebumps? I don't know what that is. How would you put Carl in the Goosebumps movie? I don't know who Carl is either. Like, who's Carl? I felt like it's like a joke. Somebody's going to throw a punchline at me in the comments. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Who would win between Slappy or Lily D in a fight to the death? I know Lily D is from Haunting Hour, and I love that. It's my favorite episode of Haunting Hour. Slappy's more mean. Lily D just wants to take the place of children. Slappy is an evil, possessed ventriloquist dummy that wants to hurt people, and he like strangles dogs and breaks children's hands and stuff. Slappy would win that in a heartbeat because all he'd have to do is pop that plastic armpit out, and he'd win. You know, he'd win. So Slappy would beat Lily D in a heartbeat easily. Rosviel, thank you for your comments, man. I appreciate you, Mr. Ramos. God bless you. Oh, here we go, Lou. Lou's gonna be fun. Lou asked a ton of questions, man. God. Oh, this is the one Lou got yelled at. That's one of my favorites. First question he asked was something I told him not to ask, and told everybody not to ask in the last video that I did the announcement for the Q&A. What's your social security number? And I happened to notice the other day I was looking through this, and EB, the original master, yelled at him and said, "Why are you asking for someone's social security number? That's personal." And Lou commented back and said it was a joke. In the video he said, "Don't ask for my social security number." Oh, then some other... Samuel Bowers went back and forth with Lou too. Not in a hateful way, but just joking about EB. Don't be mean, guys. But what's your social security number? Okay, my social... I'm going to take some water because I'm going to take a break for a second just so I can get my little shh out of my throat. I don't know what that shh is, but it's gone. It's going to go. That's good. My social security number is 555-55-5555. You're welcome. Please don't hack me. Anyway, why is there a Zach Baby TV video at the bottom of your Things Like Goosebumps playlist? Is there? I must have accidentally added it, because sometimes when you use an account and you add videos, like... Because I think sometimes YouTube is sometimes something that works and says, okay, if I want to save something to my watch later, sometimes you'll get that option if you click, like, save to watch later automatically. Sometimes if I accidentally put it in a playlist, by accident, it adds stuff, so I might have accidentally clicked on it and put it in there. It's my fault, I'm stupid. Thank you for letting me know, I appreciate that, I really do. So I'm going to have to go fix that after this video. Have you watched Goosebumps the musical? There's a Goosebumps musical? I guess that answers that question. Never heard of that. No. Are you talking about the live on stage thing? If you're talking about the live on stage thing, I haven't seen that either. I've seen the videos online of the Disney World performance thing. That was really cool. I loved that. But the live on stage thing, of course, nobody has any video footage of that. I don't think that was the thing at the Disneyland thing, or Disney World thing. But I read the book for live on stage, and it was fantastic. Loved it to death. Thought it was so good. Let's see. What's your favorite Goosebumps game? Easily Goosebumps the game for 3DS. I love that game. It's so good. So good. I'm terrible at it. I love the puzzles. I love the point-and-click aspect. I love the terrifying music. I love Slappy in it. I love everything about it. It was fantastically designed. It's kind of spooky. Again, if you're not good at puzzles and you're not smart, like myself, you'll suck at it. But you'll still have a good time. That's the best thing about it. It's all that really matters. Let's see. You still haven't told me what your social security number is. I told you already. Get over it. Were you ever bullied at school for liking Goosebumps? No, I was not. I was never bullied. And that's the thing. I feel like as nerdy as I was, again, I wore a leather jacket in high school in 2012 to 13 or whatever. You think I would have been one of them bullied. I've always been a big guy. In high school, I lost a lot of weight and gained a lot of muscle for my workout class, so I never got bullied for anything. You know, people are also afraid in high school, and this is a key I'll tell you guys right now. People are petrified in high school, whether it be other kids or teachers for that matter. They are petrified by kids who read, who genuinely read. It's not because of a school shooter thing. It's not because of them being afraid of the quiet kid in class, which would also equate to a possible school shooter thing. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that they hate the idea that somebody might be smarter than them, that reads more. Not saying I am, I'm just saying they have that idea in their head. And when you're walking around carrying stuff like I was carrying, like I got into like Shakespeare and I was reading the King James Bible and stuff when I got saved in high school, I was carrying around Macbeth. I love Macbeth. Macbeth is like the hands-down best thing that Shakespeare's ever put out. I was reading that for fun outside of school. I was taking it to class to read during break times and stuff. I was reading Dante's The Inferno. I love The Inferno. It's a great, scary book. Really scary, actually. Some of the most horrific imagery I've ever read in a book. And I was reading that for fun. It was old-time poetry, you know, from old poetry days. I was reading that for fun in class. And people did not like the fact that I was in dumber classes and reading stuff like that, because I look like a threat, I think. And plus, again, I have an RBF, so a lot of people were looking at me like that, too. But I was always a bigger guy, whether it be when I was, you know, fatter, or even now when I'm fat, too, as an adult. But I gained a lot of muscle towards my later years in high school and really kind of lost a lot of weight and got kind of, you know, bigger arms and stuff. And it kind of helped out a little bit. I didn't really have to deal with any trouble with anybody. I usually had most of my problems in high school come from teachers that were stupid and just were disrespectful. There are teachers out there who are disrespectful to students. That's what I dealt with in high school, more than anything. Teachers who did not care about the students, who did that job for a paycheck. And that's the problem with public schooling. It's why I don't support it most of the time, if not at all, pretty much. But, yeah, that was a lot of stuff to go into for have you ever been bullied for Goosebumps type thing. I did get some comments on my channel from some rude guy that wanted to stalk me. I guess that counts as bullied for, Goosebumps. I don't know. I don't care. Let's see. What's the Goosebumps book you've looked for constantly but still couldn't find to this day? I found all of them. I have all of them right now. The one I struggled to death with was 2 different books. It was My Life as an Artist, the one from Tim Jacobus many years ago, his kind of self-autobiography thing. The problem was he didn't actually write it. He admitted to this all the time on Facebook. He still does when you ask him about it. There was that book that was extremely hard to find. I found that pretty early on. But then there was the book I spent $100 on, which was the TV book of jack-o'-lanterns. And that was next to impossible to find. Somebody on Facebook advertised that being posted on Thrift Books, I think is what it was. And I trust thrift books. I love thrift books when it comes to buying Goosebumps books. They're very cheap, very quick. Not always in the best condition, but most of the time they are. When they say something is in good condition, it is. Barely any marks on it or anything. So that's trustworthy. So I bought that book off there. That was the one I struggled to death with. I was so happy about getting that book, I made a video talking about it. So you can find that somewhere on my channel about finding the Jack-o'-lanterns book, the final rare book that I needed for my collection. Something like that for the title. That was the hard one. Big time. And again, that was like one of the last 3 books I picked up. Not one of the last 3 I found, because I had 2 coming in the mail that were the final ones for the collection, but that was the one that I struggled to death to find. I know a lot of people have like